Welcome back to Morning Express. It is 8:33 a.m. and from politics and a lot of referendum talk, we switch gears, and this morning, you meet a young man who has a heart of gold, as I've been saying all morning. Really amazing stuff he's been doing, an inspirational story that he'll share with us this morning. With me in studio is Frederick Maora, who's project manager for Joy Divine House, New Mathare, which is, of course, along Outer Ring Road. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
Let's start with how all this began. You're 23 years old. You're done with high school, of course.
Yeah.
What were you doing at the time?
I was very active in church ministry, doing ministry, visiting children's homes, and eventually when my mother decided to start a children's home, and she didn't have enough staff members, I said, why not, let me just chip in, move in and help out. Yeah. Okay. Little did I know that I'll still be doing this many years later.
Many years later.
Yeah.
So one of the things you do is helping to rehabilitate street children.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Do you go to, what exactly happens?
Firstly, the project began as a feeding program for children in Huruma, Mathare, Korokocho area.
Right.
And eventually when the free primary education was introduced, and a new government came into power, the NAC administration. My mother approached the former mayor, Joe Ketch, and requested we can take in some of the street children, because the children we were feeding took advantage of the local schools. Yeah. Okay,
so it's you and your mother?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, but she's no longer doing this actively.
Okay.
And I carried forward.
So, rehabilitating street children, what is some of these experiences you've come across, meeting them, of course, in the streets? For many of them, it's hopelessness, you know, that fills their lives. They feel like they have no hope. But you help to change that, and many have gone to school. Talk to us about how, first, when you interact with them, the condition and situation you find many of them in.
It's really deplorable, and it's really, it can be discouraging. But I'm a Christian, and I do believe we have a call as Christians, and it is the true religion to, you know, to reach out to the widows and to the orphans, and we can no longer pretend that they don't exist. I've lived in a part of the city where you meet with them every other meter, and I do believe we can change. We can change the situation. We can change the situation.
Yeah. And many of them is families, entire families that are on the streets.
Yeah.
So how is it you are going about the rehabilitation? Were you taking to them food only? Were you housing them? How were you getting them to school? How was that working?
When the mayor and the NAC government agreed to hand over 35 children over to Joy Divine, we first housed them, and we first had to get them back to their proper health condition, because most of them came to us with major skin diseases. Some had STIs. We had children as young as 6, 7 with STIs. Some had dental issues. Some were very traumatized. Some actually couldn't sleep at night. You'd hear screams all night, since they've been abused on the streets. They've been sodomized, you know. They've been rejected by the families. So it was a major issue. And we had to counsel them. We had to pray for them. We had to, you know, teach them the basics again, you know, table manners, taking a shower. And it was really challenging. And interestingly, we thought that these children are just from within the slums of Nairobi. But these children are from as far as Busia, from the coastal area, from the interiors of the country. And we eventually had to do their home visits and verify, is it true that these children are orphans? And unfortunately, I'm telling you, AIDS has really killed a lot in this country.
Wow. Yeah. And it's heart-wrenching to hear you talk about 6, 7-year-olds with sexually transmitted diseases. That is heartbreaking. Yeah. But the Joy Divine, how was it founded? How did it come to being? Because now you've taken us to where there's already the organization. How did that all come back?
My mother used to be a hardware. She used to own a hardware shop along Outer Ring Road, and most of these street children would come and beg, together with the widows from the slums within the area. And slowly by slowly, she started by feeding them, you know, and by giving the widows some small jobs, come clean up the facility, And eventually she started a feeding program and offering, basic education, baby nursery, class 1 to 3. So she had some cooks and we used to clean up.
And this whole time she was funding it, her money?
Yeah, she was using her own facility, her own money. And it was also a tough times economically for the country. So she did the little she could, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And this was in 2000?
This from 2000 to 2003.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So growing that, rehabilitating these children, getting them in, there's a lot that goes with that because it's from a place to sleep, something to eat every single day, and then the question of education, of course, comes in. So how is it you were starting them off into school?
We actually took like close to 6 months before we placed them in schools. And because by then, most of the local schools were totally filled up. One classroom will have like 100 children. These are the schools in the vicinity, in Duruno Primary School. And so we decided that why not approach My Forces Academy? It's a military school, and they didn't have the same influx from the community like the rest. So we approached them, and they decided to take 6 of these children. And by the end of that academic year, these kids were top of their class.
Wow.
Simply because they're just given an opportunity. And I was able to renegotiate with the school again, and they took 10 more. By the end of the 3rd year, they had all our children in that school.
When they take these kids, are you paying? Are they just taking them in? Is it all free?
Oh, it was challenging. We had to get new school uniforms. We had to get stationery. We had to pay for lunch money. And My Forces is at least, it's a higher tier school compared to the local schools. So, and not everyone in the school administration was happy about it, but I just stuck in there and said, give these kids an opportunity. They're kids like any other children. And currently a number of these children are in university. 2 of them are pursuing mechanical engineering at Jomo Kenyatta.
And we have some pictures. As we talk, we'll just show those pictures of those that have gone through the system and been with you. So how then did you get this money?
I hear people say the hustling, and I'm telling you, it's no joke, you know. But thank God for friends, for churches, for ministries, and also for individuals. When we started out, even thought that if you run an orphanage, it's only wazungus or foreigners who can help you out. But we thank God for organizations like the Equity Wings to Fly. We thank God for companies that are beginning to step in and offer CSR. Kenyans also, young professionals also beginning to come on board and help us out. So I've had some of my friends who've got good jobs stepping in and saying, I'll sponsor one child. But it's still a challenge. Like the education budget for this year is 2 million alone. And only a quarter of these children have got the sponsorship. So every new term, when it's about to begin, I'm running around, I'm reaching out to people, and we just get by. But we are hoping that organizations can step in and also help us out. You've mentioned a few of the organizations and said some of the young people and people who are working that come in and chip in. What is it you tell them? Say you've met me, you want me to help out. What is it you tell me? I'll tell you that I have an orphan from Murang'a, and this child was abusing drugs on the streets of Nairobi. But when he decided to come on board Joy Divine, he's changed his behavior. He's hardworking. He's agreed to go up country every school holiday and meet the grandmother, so to rebuild the relationship. And he has a desire to be a doctor. Can you help me out and make the life of this child be transformed? Wow. Yeah. And for you, what drives you? Because they're not paying you. They're not, you're working hard. Many of them perhaps even don't realize just the many rounds you have to do to make sure they stay in school, the many favors you have to call in. What drives that? It's very fulfilling. It's awesome seeing a smile in the face of this child. Seeing the transformation from the despair to hope, to an ambition, to a goal in life, and it's very fulfilling. I don't know what to say, and I feel that I'm doing the right thing. It's the right thing to do. And I can't exchange this for anything else in the world. It's like what you feel like. It's like what you were put down here to do. I think I'll die doing this. I'll die doing this. Yeah. This is what I think this is what I was meant to do. Yeah. Giving hope to someone who doesn't have any hope. Yeah.
And there's a lot, of hopeless people out there. And it's amazing what you mentioned about them just studying and working hard, really studying for their lives. You say someone is running for their life or whatever, but they're studying hard and making it because they know this is it. I've gotten a chance, an opportunity. I'm not going to waste that.
Yeah, actually what you're saying is so true, because we do pay taxes like anyone else. We pay water bills like anyone else. If these children are sick, we pay hospital bills like anyone else. So I tell them that you really have to give it your all. You really have to give it your all. We don't get any special favors. We pay school fees like anyone else. If we are late paying school fees, the children will be sent home. So I tell them, this is the opportunity you've gotten. Give it your best. And make your Father in heaven happy. Because I do believe that it's God in heaven, our Father who is in heaven, who's watching over them. Because at times, there's some things I can't explain, how we've gone through them, it's miracles day by day, month by month, year by year. Yeah, it's miracles.
Do you have a job?
No, this is my main task. This is my main job.
This is what you committed your life to do.
I'm responsible for the lives of 50 children.
Right now?
Yeah. 50 children.
Aged between?
The youngest currently is 4 years old, to the oldest is around 22.
Wow. And
I tell people it's right now I can see it's been a 14-year project, because the first child we took in from the streets of Nairobi some are in colleges and some in universities. And it's a matter of being consistent, and I said it, I'll start doing this, and I meant it. So my call is to the Kenyan public and to everyone outside there. Please come on board. Let's transform the lives of these children. We can't say that it's up to the president or the governor. Let's do the least we can with the little we can.
Yeah.
And God will provide the rest.
Yeah. And like you said that, because there's a lot of serikali naomba, everybody. So you imagine really if they were catering to all our needs, then at the end of the day they would be overstretched. And so everybody has a responsibility. Yeah. Everybody has a duty.
Yeah.
And it's not just rehabilitating the street children that you do.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the IDP camp and how that came up.
In 2007, you do know that the Mathare, Huruma area was a hotspot. So many people lost their lives, their houses, their property, and so many of them were displaced. So I remember I approached the children's officer in Kariako, and I said, because we had some room. We had 2 large halls that were unoccupied, and I said, I think we can take in some of these children. But they were really hesitant. So sometime later on, we visited the Kirathimo camp in Limuru, Red Cross camp, with my church, as they're donating food, supplies, clothes. And I remember telling my pastors, Pastor James Okumu and Pastor Joel Chola, I think I can take in some of these kids, because they were really living in terrible conditions. Waterlogged tents. Some of them were living in the same tents with their parents. So it was indecent. It was an African. So I said, I think I can take in some of the children. So we coordinated with the Red Cross, and eventually we took in like 35 of them. My intention was to take at least like 15, but we took in 35 of them. So, and we started, we placing them in schools. And we thank God for schools like Buruburu 1, that primary school that decided to take in these children. And we facilitated for them to sit for final exams.
Wow.
So we had to get new documentations, we had to approach Kenya National Examination Council and ask them, can you facilitate and make sure that these children are registered afresh and sit for the exams? And thank God most of these children are already, right now they're adults, and some of them actually were working with Red Cross.
Wow.
And one of them is even in university. But it's been challenging, because the same government also was very hesitant, because they thought bringing children from either Rift Valley to Nairobi, there's a possibility of them being trafficked and all that. But we presented ourselves and said that we're going to be transparent. We're going to start the reintegration process with the help of Red Cross and make sure at least these children are eventually reunited with their families. So by the end of that time, or that duration, that 5 children are eventually successfully reunited with their families. They pursued their education, and we did our part.
Yeah. And it's good that, listening to you, the focus is really on education, is that you can feed them, give them shelter, but bottom line, there's got to be an education, because that is what you can empower somebody with. My mom always told me, someone can give you money and whatever, you'll waste all of that. But if you have an education, if you can think, and whatever it is life brings your way, and you can work and have something in between your ears, you're good to go.
There's no point of me taking in street children or even hosting them if I'm not gonna do the core business, and the core business is education. Actually, when you took in some of these street children, some of them were 15 years old or 17 years old, and imagine I had to take them back to pre-unit.
Wow.
Yeah, we had to take some of these children pre-unit. And we had to talk to them and counsel them and advise them. Be humble enough, start the basics again. Eventually you'll catch up. And I'm telling you, they decided to be humble. And eventually when they start picking up, they start skipping classes until to the stage where they can.
Yeah. You mentioned counseling, and I imagine that is one of the things that was required in terms of integrating them from street life. It's a rough life. It's cruel, to a place where there's warmth, there's love, there's a meal that you're expecting, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even to school, if it's boarding school with other kids. But how tough was it for the kids?
It's very tough. It's very tough, because even when you take in these children, they have to build a trust with us. They have to know that we really mean well for them. Trust is a two-way traffic, as in we trust them and they trust us. And eventually we start connecting them with counselors, pastors, missionaries, university students who are really good in counseling and psychology. And like a good example is that once we had the head of psychology and counseling at USIU giving of his time to come and do sessions especially with the IDPs. And we were dealing with all the issues or the matters concerning the lives of these children.
How are the reunions for those that you did manage to reunite? How are those?
For the street children, it's no easy task, because especially if their families and their relatives know that a child is in a children's home, his education is catered for, accommodation is food, they're really hesitant in the first place. So a number of times I've been reported to the DC, to the Assistant Director of Education, and they're saying, he's forcing us to take our children back. But you see, according to the Children's Act, every child eventually has to be reunited or reconnected back to their society or their community. So, but we force it. It's difficult at times, but we tell them, blood is thicker than water. This is your child. You really have to build a relationship. You really need to come come visit them in school. You really need to come and, go for a school meeting. Get to know how your child is going on.
And you've had feeding programs as well. You still have those, and outreaches where even if they're not staying with you, you're still at least going out there to provide food.
Eventually, you see, the children we began in 2003. There was a time the center was empty, because all our children are in boarding schools. The first generation of children we took in. So I'm friends with a gospel group called BMF, and we said, there's still so many children along Juja Road, Mlango Kubwa, Isli area, the Huruma roundabout. What can we do about it? So we said, let's start a feeding program. Let's engage with them. Let's go spend time with them. Let's go dance with them. And that's what we started. And the children love it, because we're giving them attention. The truth is that we can't rescue all of them from the streets, but we're loving on them. We're giving them a hug. We're sharing a meal with them. We're dancing with them. Even the time we took them out for a movie at the village market, and they spent the whole day swimming.
That's beautiful.
But then in the evening we gave them a packed dinner and we told them goodbye. It's so sad, because we can't take all these children from the streets. But within that duration from 2012 to right now, we've only rescued like 20 of them, and all of the 20 are in school. We can do much more. If only, say, the government gave us contracts and told us, we've seen the potential in you guys, and we have the capability, because we've got networks of university students, friends, churches, ministries, missionaries. If you only come together and you're given the capacity, we can do much more. The stories of hearing Mlango Kubwa or Mathare area has got the biggest number of street children could be a story of the past. because we're also part of a network within the Mathari constituency that brings different organizations like Rescue Dada, RAP, and we recently even did the International Day of Street Children. We got them all together, and we're just trying to position ourselves and tell the government, let's do something, get into partnership with us. Because it's even for us to have reached this stage, there's a time the late Karisa Maitha and the former Assistant Minister of Local Government, Betty Tet, there's an organization called the Street Families Rehabilitation Trust Fund. They gave us the capacity, they gave us beds, mattresses, cooking materials, and eventually that's what we've been able to place these children to this level of education. But they stopped doing that. So we are only urging the well-wishers, come on board, help us out. Not only Joy Divine, but other organizations that are dealing with street children. And we can do much more.
And how do those people, somebody watching you and thinking, yeah, I'd like to help out, how do they reach you? How do they contact you? Where do they find you? I can give them my email address is info@joydivinechildren.org. Or am I allowed to give me? Yeah, info@joydivinechildren. At joydivinechildren.org.
Yeah.
Info@joydivinechildren.org. That's the email address.
Yeah.
And where
I can give them my phone number also.
Not phone number. You might find somebody who thinks you're very good looking and decides to disturb you. Anyway, where can they find you?
We had to relocate because Outer Ring Road is about to be expanded, and we could be losing our two-story facility. So you didn't want to see us on TV the following day saying naomba serikali ichukue watoto. So we had to relocate all the way to Ngong area, Matasia. And we are renting a five-story building. I mean a 5-bedroom house where we are hosting the children, but we've also placed them in schools in the vicinity.
Are you on social media?
Yeah, we're on social media. We have a page on social media we are Joy Divine Children's Organization. Yeah. Joy Divine Children's Organization.
That's Facebook.
That's Facebook.
And Twitter?
We are okay, I can't remember because I'm not very active on the Twitter account.
You need to be. Yeah. You need to be, and of course you'll give me that, and I'll be able to.
I'll give it to you. But we have a Twitter account.
You have a Twitter account as well. I'll also just tweet some of those contacts so that our viewers and those who'd like to get in touch can do so. Yeah. Because what you find is that for many people it's during the holidays or those times when people are all spiritual that they reach out to give, but it should be a thing that you can commit to, even if it's to helping, if it's giving a little money, you'd say or participating, coming to some of those feeding programs. As you said, playing with the kids, giving them hugs. It's part of them just feeling like, I'm here, they matter. Every human being craves for that significance, craves for that, everyone recognizing that they're there. Kenyans are generous, but they're generous during Christmas time. But we need them in 4th of March, we need them on the 7th of July, we need them 13th of August. They need to be consistent, but I really appreciate, because Kenyans slowly but slowly are beginning to step up and they're beginning to help out. But we can do much more. They have an opportunity of sponsoring a child's education. They have an opportunity of supplying foodstuffs. They have the opportunity of praying for us. There's so much they can do. All right, and you're doing great. We salute you. We wish you the very best as you continue with this, and hope that guys will come on board and help you out. Frederick Mwaura, thank you so much for being with us. And say hello to the kids. We'll do that. Now some are not quite kids; they're young men and adults. Women, adults. Our love to them as well. And thank you for watching the show this morning. A lot of your feedback that has come through. We thank you for taking the time to engage with us on social media, for SMSing. Muridi Raphael is saying that guy needs to win the Transform Kenya Award. Great job he's doing raising street children. Indeed he is. Arthur Thomas says inspiring. This guy is more valuable than, oh boy, okay, somebody else. You're saying lovely and noble. Thumbs up. That's Monari. Semaj. And of course, very many of your tweets on Honorable Onyonka and the interview that we had earlier. We thank you for watching. We have another great show for you tomorrow. End of the week, as the end of the month is today. Tomorrow we begin a new chapter. August is here with us, and we'll have a great show. On behalf of everybody that made the show possible, have a lovely Thursday.